Seeing at 6 o'clock, we're going to call the meeting to order. If everybody would please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have minutes for February 5th. Wish of the board.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
I just abstained because I wasn't here.
That's going to be 3-0. All right, media business, public comments.
You guys want to go first? Don't be shy.
You're good. Mr. Barry?
Hey, I'm Kevin Barry. I'm the EMD, Emergency Management Director in the town of Deerfield. Basically, I am speaking to the crowd as far as to, I heard a rumor that there was potentially some students / staff from SAU 53 that went to Italy, some level 3 place in the world. They're coming back, and my recommendation is that we maintain the 14-day quarantine. I heard there's a 7-day quarantine. I just recommend that we go to the CDC recommended 7 to 14 days.
Okay. So, yeah. And I, just so that it's on the record, I had spoke with the superintendent about that, and the initial notification that went home to parents on a Sunday, we'll call it afternoon, was to make sure that those people did not come to the building on Monday while they were addressing and assessing everything that was going on. And it has since been increased to 14 days for those around.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Barry, would you recommend any sort of communication if this situation arises again, communication between yourself or your office and the school? Just so you know what
It probably would not hurt to help to just so you are the school notify either myself or Jim Craig.
Okay.
As far as what the game is.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other citizens? Comments? Nothing. All right. Agenda review. Anybody have anything they want to add, move, or change? Nate?
Yes, I would like to add something into informational.
Okay. What do you have, sir?
It's an opportunity or an idea for increasing communication to the community.
Okay. I'm going to just leave that as communications led by Nate. Does that work, sir?
Yes, that's great. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? I assume we don't have any consent items. All right.
says we don't.
If we don't, this is only when Patty chimes in. Yeah. Patty here, I feel discombobulated. We have a school calendar to review. That was something that was discussed at the last executive board meeting. Everybody has a copy of it? Do you have any notes or anything you'd like to pass on to us?
Brian and I met with a union leader today to go over everything. He had put it out to key staff to go for any kind of input. We tried to follow the Concord calendar as closely as possible, which the SAU was also following. Concord is starting the week of the 26th and 27th. We are suggesting that teacher workshop day happens that Monday and Tuesday, the 24th and 25th. And Concord has has that Friday off, the 28th, but we're suggesting that we go to school because we have a Deerfield Fair day to swap that out with. The Concord/SAU calendar is following the August, the month of September, going through the first week in September there. Labor Day is late this year, so taking that Friday and that Monday off, which isn't something that Deerfield has done. I don't know if they've ever done it, but that's what the Concord group is doing, and the SAU is trying. We're all trying to stick to the same calendar. With a few days in October, we have to take that the Friday the 2nd off. The question is, the Deerfield Fair ever been in October?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It happens
Every
Couple
4 or 5 years.
24 days after the
It's always
Gotcha.
44 days after Labor Day. There you go.
Okay. So the Deerfield will take that Friday off. We will keep that professional development day on the 9th, which is Columbus Day weekend, and take that Monday off. So teacher workshop day will be Friday, and all staff and students will have that Monday off.
Okay, will the students be here on the 9th?
Students will not be here on the 9th.
So we're
That's
gonna be 2 Fridays in a row.
2 Fridays in a row there. Good point.
Is what we've done in the past couple of years?
Yes.
We've done that for the
Has it
past
been
couple
2
of
Fridays in a row?
Yeah, it's all based on the Deerfield Fair, but
It is.
relatively it's around the same time.
And that day, the SAU is taking it, as well as Concord is taking that day as a professional development day,
The night.
the 9th.
And the 12th, so it'll be a 4-day weekend.
Okay.
Right,
Yeah.
but teachers have that day off as well,
Yep.
on Monday the 12th, yeah. In November, the SAU calendar, as well as the Concord calendar, has the Tuesday the 3rd off. They're not having, it's election day, so they're not even having school for teachers as either. But Deerfield doesn't have voting at the school, and we would like to have our parent-teacher conferences that day for our first parent-teacher conference, the one of 2 that we have built into the calendar. And then November follows suit, December follows suit. One change will be in January. The SAU calendar and the Concord calendar has a professional development day on the 25th of January, Monday the 25th. We would like to swap that out with the May professional development day that we usually have. We usually take the Friday of Memorial Day weekend. Teacher has a teacher workshop, kids have the day off, and then kids and teachers have that Monday off. So we're going to swap to keep consistency with SAU and the.
So the January 25th is gonna be a regular day?
Is going to be a professional development day for teachers, but a no school day for students.
That's effectively changing a 4-day weekend for the kids in May to
Correct.
a 3-day weekend for the kids in May.
Correct.
And then another 3-day weekend in January.
Mm-hmm.
It's splitting a 4-day weekend into 2 3-day weekends.
Okay.
There's no change in February. In March, the Concord SAU, the Concord school has no school on the 19th. They have a professional development day, but we're asking, we're keeping with the March 9th date for the whole SAU as a SAU professional development day, like we have this Tuesday coming up. In April, this is when we'd like to have our second parent-teacher conference in the spring, so we're a couple teachers had recommended that we, instead of having both parent-teacher conferences on a Tuesday, that we do one on a Tuesday and one on a different day. So we are going to do Thursday the 8th as our second parent-teacher conference. May is again, we usually have that 28th off, and we're going to swap that date for January. And that brings us to the last day of school, built-in 5 snow days for June 16th. That includes the 178 days for students, as well as the professional development days required by teachers.
Any questions?
Yeah, would you mind going through and just highlighting the changes from this year to the proposed calendar? That was a lot of stuff, but I think I caught a couple. Were there a lot? It didn't seem like there were a lot of changes. Mostly it's the same, but there were a couple small changes.
Yep. So I would say probably the Labor Day weekend change to having that Friday off.
So Friday the 20th of May, we're changing to a school day.
Nope.
Labor Day
I've gone back to the beginning. Labor Day is in September.
Memorial Day. All right, so Labor Day is.
So we'll take that. So that will be different having that Friday off, but it's also a very different because Labor Day is so late this year.
Okay.
and starting pretty early in August.
All right.
So then the other change would be, that isn't typically,
And shortening the Memorial Day weekend.
short, is in January, taking the 25th
Right, and trading that for more.
and trading that for the Memorial Day weekend, that Friday, yep.
Those are your major highlights.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
A lot of changes.
No,
Still no half days,
still no half days.
all right.
Mm-hmm. Got the Deerfield Fair Day, got our parent-teacher conferences in there. And as consistent as we could for the SAU and
That was
Concord.
my question. Now, we had the presentation back in the fall about the desire to be more consistent with our SAU.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like for us to split between our SAU and Concord is difficult, but it sounds like our SAU is moving toward Concord as a result because they would like to be.
Go ahead.
Concord, Pembroke students go to Concord for both school.
Yep.
So they try to be as aligned, they try to become more aligned, so as inconvenience to the students.
We discussed that at the executive board. It was that Pembroke's schedule was really trying to mirror Concord's as best as possible. And which pulls the whole SAU if they, following through with pulling the whole SAU basically in the Concord schedule. So it benefits us indirectly, but it gets us where we're trying to be.
And we'll have those opportunities to work with the SAU and pooling resources to have consistent professional days.
Mm-hmm. Especially in January on the 25th and in March. And then also in October.
Some we're ready to approve tonight. Somebody got at it?
I move to accept the proposed calendar for 2020, 2021.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Any other further discussion? Are you keeping notes on these?
I'm trying to move by Nate. I don't know what Patty does here. She just, her pen starts working and it's
Patty
amazing.
does it.
I'm just calendar moved by Nate, seconded by Ken, and backed up by Candy. Got it.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. Calendar's done.
Awesome.
Okay, next up, board reports. PTO report, PTO.
We hosted our candidates night, went well, we had 14 candidates that came. We are purchasing a popcorn machine for us middle school to use, so that we can sell popcorn on Fridays with our new spirit sticks. We're gonna do another, some of the school spirit wear, March, April, and May, which I just realized it's March.
Snuck up on us.
Yeah, right. We're gonna do Name That Road contest in April and May this year. We set up our grandparents' day, which is gonna be Friday, April 10th from 9 to 11. We're still planning our move into May event, which is on May 17th. We're still planning our triathlon. And our next meeting is St. Patrick's Day.
Excellent, thank you very much. Any questions for PTO? No, we're flipping. All right, I think we are going to be passing on the CHS report tonight. Do we have a staff report?
No.
Okay. No executive board. Ms. Withy, you have the floor.
All right, I apologize. The last time I gave her a principal's report was January 22nd, and it's March 4th. Even though January had 75 days. It seems like such a long month. So we're continuing with our class of the week. Ms. Laskowski in 4th grade, Mr. Ferguson in 5th grade, Mr. Ferdinand in 3rd grade, and Ms. Nelson in 3rd grade as well. We're our last 4 classrooms of the week. This week we started our homeroom of the week in the middle school. We worked with the middle school teachers. We're going to work with the advisories instead of the homerooms because advisories also kind of travel together. So Ms. Flanagan's 6th grade is the first homeroom of the week, and it's been very fun. Every morning, a couple of 6th graders have joined me for morning announcements and have helped me with morning announcements. I was able to go to a learning lab today. I'm going to join an advisory tomorrow and have lunch with the kids on Friday. 3rd grade has a couple of visitors from the Student Conservation Association, SCA. Kara Ogilvy and Catherine Kelly have been joining them once a week or twice a week. Once a week for the past few weeks, and they're going to be with us for the next few months, coming in on Wednesdays to teach environmental science in 3rd grade. And Mrs. Audley informed the staff today that kids made poop today in SCA, and that's all I have to say about that. They're doing a thing on SCAT, so it was a nice connection. But they made poop, and they got to bring it home. It's a true story. We had our Kids Heart Challenge demo jump roping team came from Newmarket to visit us back in January to kick off our jump rope and hoops for heart. They had a wonderful presentation for our K through 4 group. After they come, every kid thinks that they want to be part of this performance, and they kick up their jump roping skills, and we even have some jump roping talent coming to the stage at DCS on Thursday. We had our family math night, which was a huge success. Focus helped purchase some life-size games. The kids had a blast. The bowling was a hit. Kids had to pick numbers like they were at the market basket in the deli on a Sunday. They were literally like, I'm number 75, and I'm like, what number are they on now? 22. So next year we will reconfigure some of those more popular games.
More lanes.
Exactly, we'll have more lanes. Monday, the 27th was career day for our 8th graders. We had several community members join us that day to work with the 8th graders, talk to the 8th graders about different careers. It was a huge success, as it always is every year. Our Keys to Literacy training has continued again this year. This is something that Jackie Veal has carried on for many years. With her retirement, Kristen Davis and Liz McGovern have become trainers, and they are hosting Keys to Literacy training once a week for, I think, 6 weeks. Mr. Grieve has joined the group, and we have, Mrs. McGovern and Mrs. Davis have pulled in all our new staff that we have this year to train them. All straight across the board. Mr. Trong is there for music, and we have some new young case managers, quite a few case managers that are new. So anybody that's new is participating in this training, and there's the topics are put on the calendar. So if people are interested in a refresher, they're welcome to join them. So that's been great. We've had our K through 8 dental education and our dental clinic over the past month. Mr. Flower visited DCS for an 8th grade visit. He had a student session, which the kids really enjoyed, and then that evening the parents joined him to hear all about what Concord High School has to offer. Thursday, January 30th, we had our rescheduled Tiger Assembly. It was wonderful. We had 2 shows. Our K through 4 group, they did it's called A Brand New Day. The K through 4 group thoroughly enjoyed their performance, and then our 5th through 8th graders enjoyed a performance in the afternoon called Bystander, A Portrait in Apathy. And then thank you to the Reardons who joined us that night for our parent workshop. It was a very informative workshop, and the person who was here did a nice job. Now we're into February, so on Wednesday, February 5th, we had our K through 2 curriculum night. It was well attended by many families. Students loved celebrating their hard work. Wednesday, the 12th, we had our monthly all-school meeting. 3rd graders were the hosts, and they knocked it out of the park. Friday, the 14th, not only was Valentine's Day, but it was the 100th day of school, and our kindergartners dressed up as 100-year-olds, and we did a parade around the school. It was adorable. Our basketball girl team, our A team lost in the finals, and our B team won in the finals, so we're very proud of them. And our boys finished up their season strong. They had their final basketball party a couple weeks ago. On Tuesday, right before vacation, our middle school had a pep rally. It was staff for students basketball game. I think the kids won.
How'd you let that happen?
Yeah.
Again.
Embarrassing.
I think you need to start drilling them early next year.
I think so. I gotta get a couple kids here.
Yeah.
New recruits.
Yeah.
We need to get that shooting machine out.
The staff worked hard, though. They really did. They didn't give it to them, that's for sure.
One sixth grader hit several free points.
That's what he's sticking to.
That's the story you're telling.
Uh-huh.
That's the story we're going with.
Run the tape, let's find out.
They also did in the intermission, did a stuff the outfit minute to win it game where the kids had to stuff balloons in an oversized outfit. They had a big raffle ticket thing going on. It was a lot of fun. The kids had a blast. It was very loud. You could hear their cheers throughout the whole school, which is the way it should be. On Thursday, we had quite a few famous people here for our 4th grade biography night. Milton Hershey was a huge hit. I think next time we should he brought Hershey Kisses, and so he was definitely popular that night. Friday the 21st was our Kids Heart Challenge. They did Jump Up for Heart and the Hoops for Heart. And then on to February vacation, where Mike and his crew worked real hard to spruce up the school a little bit. Got to wax the floors on the first floor, got a waxing. Shelving was built for the storage facility. We're ready to start moving totes out there. The building got a real thorough cleaning. Over vacation, our Concord varsity girls came and had a practice here with the varsity team. It was great to see the few girls that returned that day. Over February vacation, the district also got a district-wide wireless upgrade, and so the wireless was down for a couple days here at the school, and it went back up without a hitch. We have a few things that we're going to talk about regarding other things that need to be upgraded because now the wireless is upgraded. March starts our Read Across America month-long celebration. We have lots of things going on, counting number of books read. We're trying to reach 10,000 books for a Minute to Win It celebration at the end of the month. We have guest readers coming in, drop everything and read. Friday is our Seussical Day. So you're hoping to have some Seuss characters or just some crazy outfits. We've had story-related foods in the cafeteria, and we have some after-school read-ins happening. Thursday the 12th is our K-2 group, and Thursday the 19th is for grades 3 through 5, and we'll have our vocabulary showcase on the 13th. We finally have a reschedule for our grades 3 through 5 curriculum night, which had to be canceled 3 times. For Thursday, next Thursday, the 12th from 5:30 to 7. I'll send another one call now, and I'll post them on Facebook as well. And I'm sorry if that's not enough information for you. I could dig a little more if you want.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Any questions? Nate?
Yes, I had heard something through the town library about screenagers.
Oh, yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
Is there anything you can tell us about that?
Sure. April Puritan has been the big push behind this. She's gotten the funding for it. She just needed a place to show it. So we started working together. Ironically, I had inquired about screenagers. I get every screenager email there is now, because once you start inquiring about things like that, you get on the list. So we will be showing that the end of March.
Can you tell us what it is?
Yeah,
Oh gosh, she had to write up. It's basically talking about how screen time and technology is affecting our children. Oh, that's the basic synopsis of it. So it's about an hour and a half long movie, and we'll be
screen time.
Screen time, so like phone, it's an hour and a half screen
An hour and a
time.
half screen time.
About screen time.
She also got there's another video to show middle school, so we'll be working to show that video as well.
And I'm sorry, there was a date?
March 31st. We're going to start advertising around town and try to get as many people as we can here. It'll be in the cafeteria because it will be Parks and Rec Hoops Classic in the gym, so we will show in the cafeteria.
Are we, actually, I think this, we'll get into it when we start talking to Mr. Greenwood on that.
Look at that. Facilities.
Yeah, we're getting into facility stuff. Okay. All right, any other questions for the principal?
Don't forget about the talent show and the spaghetti
Be
dinner!
here tomorrow night.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, let's move on to the CRB.
We do not.
Okay. All right, looks like we're on to facilities planning. Do we need the projector?
Yep, I can do that.
Mike, you wanna
You wanna roll the chair over or sit the
pull on up over here and
You just think, like,
we'll facilities plan. Welcome. Do you want to, should we kill the lights? Are you gonna try to catch that with the cameraman?
I'll try.
I don't know if you wanna hit the, yeah, let's see if that helps.
Try the next one.
All right, so the principal and Mr. Greenwood have, I think, some information for us, so we requested a meeting or two ago. Does that sound correct, Kristen?
Yeah, and I'm just gonna pull up the spreadsheet that we had worked with the last time.
Awesome. So while we're getting ready to get into that, are we, Mike, as far as we're on schedule for the floor and all that stuff to happen?
Best to my knowledge.
Okay. Is there anything that we need to try to address before that?
Well, I actually, in this
Or is
paper
that in
floating
this?
around somewhere, it isn't right yet, but I checked with the company as far as testing the floor before it's torn up, like test for asbestos or anything of that nature.
Okay.
All the research I've done, we don't have an O'Hara report, which probably more indicates that we don't have any issues here. But I just feel that where the majority of that work is gonna be done while the students and staff are all here, that we should probably cover all our bases by at least having the answers if they're asked. So that was the company I contacted. The first thing they said was to do that particular test, and then that would tell us how to do any further testing as far as air quality sampling intermittently or when, or, I mean, you're talking about tearing up a 30-year-old floor that's moved on to concrete while the building's happening.
Correct.
And I just would feel, and I think we all would feel more comfortable if we knew exactly where we were at and didn't fall into somebody got sick or somebody had a headache or and blame, not that that still couldn't happen, I'm not saying that.
Do you
but-
have an avenue for that, or a vendor? Do you have a source or a vendor for that currently, or?
There's
We're
I
gonna do
actually
it?
got a proposal here
Okay.
somewhere that just gets the ball rolling, but since I didn't talk to anybody about it, this is sort of the presentation to make the decision.
I tend to jump around quite a bit, so.
No.
I'm a human squirrel.
I'll get you the, yep, that's it.
That's it.
And they actually do hold, or do the O'Hara reporting for two of the other schools that are in our SAU already. I forget which two they were, but.
So, looking at this quickly, Mike, it's, cost for the survey, testing, expenses, review and reporting is $515, and lab analysis will be billed in addition to the base fee of $15 per standard test. So do you think if we approved $1,000, just to give you the flexibility to go ahead and get it done, you'd be?
Right, because hopefully, we all hope
Comes back,
it's
there's
gonna,
nothing to be
everything's
done.
gonna come back negative, but at least we'll have that documentation, that information in the event that an issue does arise.
Okay.
Also, from what I kind of understand from the second proposal that they emailed to us, was that they're not responsible for any air quality or any air movement, or it seemed like there was quite a few things on that second paper that they sent us that they're not gonna be responsible for.
From the flooring contract?
Correct.
Okay.
And for that reason, they just will continue to do their job, whereas if we have an issue or somebody appears to have an issue, it falls on us, and I think if we're already in the position and have already taken all these steps, it's just gonna be, it's insurance that I think we really should have in this day and age.
Mike has talked also about closing off a hallway that back hallway as the crew is moving materials in and out of the building. So that back door, so the back gym door, that back door that goes out towards the dumpsters. A lot of our kindergarten classrooms do use that currently to get outside for recess and come back in. We did inform them today that we're most likely closing out that hallway. Mike has talked to fire chief to make sure.
Real warm and fuzzy about it, but
No,
it will work.
so that would be on the right side,
Yeah.
going into your
Correct.
Yes,
facility,
right.
At
your
Little Red
area.
Hall, we actually put up a petition with a door,
Okay,
and keep it locked, but in the event that, it had
and
to
that
be
gives the
used.
crews access in and out while they're working as
Correct,
well.
and then they don't have to worry about, some kid wanting to know what's going on and going out there, or even a staff member for that matter. I mean, adults aren't immune to.
Curiosity.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll also be putting a partition, when you come in through the laundry room for the 2 bathrooms there that all the students
Yes.
use, mod students use.
Oh, okay,
So there'll be
seal
a
that up.
partition put up there as well, so,
okay.
they won't have access to that.
So it would be,
So they'll have access to the bathroom.
they come through the laundry room, access
Correct.
through the bathroom on either
Right.
side.
Which is no egress things or anything like that, so it would just be a solid 2x4 quick wall with some sheet rock thrown on it.
Call it good.
The only other issue that I had, and I wasn't exactly sure if the other company addresses, or the company addresses it, was if we should have temporary fencing around their construction area outside where they're gonna have their dumpsters and their equipment and whatnot. That is pretty close proximity to the playground area. I just wasn't certain how you wanted to handle that. Just might at least, deserve a conversation at some point.
Yeah, when are we scheduled to start that?
April,
May 15th.
May 18th. Okay. So I would say, maybe for the next meeting, we can just try to bridge that gap. If it's possible, can you get us, a rough guesstimate on what it would cost to rent some fencing?
I can, it'll have to be just linear footage,
Yeah.
square footage, because I don't know how big their laydown area wants to be. I'm certainly gonna bring a couple of good size 30 dumpsters and,
Yeah, maybe reach out to them and just as a
I'm
pre.
guessing like the main demolition to take, 1 or 2 or 3 days, and then it's all gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, once the flooring's up and everything and that,
Right.
they run through with the giant gizmo. The demo will probably go pretty quick and then
I
they'll come
would
out.
assume
And
so.
then there's gonna just be, they've got all the floor seasoning in there. There's gonna be a week or 2 weeks of inactivity and the floor
Yeah,
is in there.
It's
gotta cure.
Pre-sanded as well,
It is,
yeah, so there won't be any sanding machines.
okay.
And we don't need to use the 3
The 3-phase,
volt,
Right.
yeah, we won't need to use that.
Which, like I said, everything was just a little confusing, because they're asking for all these things, and it's like, oh, wait a minute. So yeah, 3-phase would have certainly meant, bringing
bringing
in.
in a standby generator for it or having electricity.
Well, we have 3-phase available, but plumbing and electrician, blah, 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 home and yards, it's just these little things that probably gonna come out of our pockets, I assume,
So-
but there's nothing been,
Why don't we, if possible for the next meeting, let's pull the proposals and questions and try to get all that out and dealt with, because that'll still give us ample time to respond and come up with a solution.
did request a copy of the final proposal, which we don't have here on site.
Okay, from Amber?
Amber,
Okay,
yes,
all right.
SAU license.
So we can have that here, obviously, for the next meeting as well.
And then I printed the copy of the email that they sent to Brian, so I have that documentation.
Okay.
And he's questioned some of the stuff that I've questioned, so that's where the 3-phase went away and, a couple of the other things, but, I mean, like I said, my only concern is the fact that it's going on during regular.
Mhm.
And because it doesn't upset anybody's norm, it wouldn't be unnormal for somebody to, oh, I've gone this way for the last 100 days, I'm gonna go this way today. It's just,
Yeah, so I would say on the temp fencing, let's just get a number on that.
Right.
I suspect that's gonna be fairly short money.
yeah, I mean, I can't.
And then as far as for the testing that Mike's talking about, there's a board member interested in moving something so we can get that done and knocked out of the way. I agree with Mike on that.
Yeah, I agree. I'll make that motion that we approve $1,000 funding for
Asbestos testing, sorry.
establishing air quality testing prior to floor removal.
Second. We got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright, get it done, Mike.
And I will certainly, get you the results the minute I have them.
Okay.
While we're on this topic real quick, in looking at the proposal, they are going to be replacing any lines that we currently have on the floor, in the sense of foul lines and volleyball lines. We do have in the proposal is drilling for two new holes for new volleyball court.
Mhm.
There is gonna be some kind of fee for new lining for, it's essentially a rectangle line. In this discussion with Ms. Withy and Ms. Hanson, we discussed the option of having additional paint put down before it's all sealed off. I'm waiting on some numbers, but I wanted to know if I should continue this further, if the board is interested in us having more of a professional looking, essentially the current court set up, but then having a border around it with the name Deerfield and on one end and Dragons on the other, and then having the key is the area in the box from foul line to the basket, also the same color as the outside border. So if the board would entertain that, I can dive deeper into it.
Anybody have an issue with getting that information?
Can we pull it from our impact fees?
I don't, it's part of the same project, so I don't necessarily see why we couldn't. We'd have to verify it, but it's part of that project. We have additional monies left.
Did we go to the select board with a specific ceiling on the request, or did we?
We gave them an amount, but I don't have the information from it. I think we actually left some room in the amount. I think we requested a small margin more. But I don't recall off the top of my head. But I don't see why we couldn't look at that. And I guess my mentality is I don't want to talk about a gym floor for as long as I'm concerned about it again. So let's at least make sure whatever we do is done right. So it sounds like, as far as at least getting the information, the board's comfortable with that.
Yeah, I mean, if it's an extra like $10,000, that might be, but if it's, I guess I have no idea what number we're talking about here.
Right, I'm
Sure, I'm open to the idea, yeah.
Yeah, and so, yeah.
So I'll pursue that.
Yep, I would say please, and if possible, to have that in the next meeting as well. Maybe we'll set time on the agenda for the next meeting.
The
We'll just,
gentleman who's I'm in contact with is on vacation for a while, so
okay,
he's kind of emailing me back and forth every now and then. So.
all right. And does that include, you said putting a border around the
Yes,
the
yeah,
court?
yeah,
painting-
border,
painting the
foot and a
keys.
half, 2 foot border, and then keys painted, and then Deerfield on one side, Dragons on the other.
Okay.
It does include the logo is part of the initial
In the
cost
center.
in the center, so it'll be the Dragon.
And is there, and this is well outside my wheelhouse, but the lines when they get painted, does it make sense to change the lines, make them stand out more, contrast more? I've heard some people say that there's maybe, I necessarily don't care what color they all are, but whatever, if there's a best practice. The one benefit I'll say about maybe having a border around the court is it'll make it a little bit easier for us to define when we have people in the gym and company in the gym that the playing surface isn't where your boots from outside go. The playing surface is a playing surface. Otherwise, please stay outside the border and along the perimeter of the gym where the carpets are and all that stuff. So yeah, rock and roll.
Could we also just have a note to check with Amber, or to have Amber check with the board or the select, whatever, clear up however.
How we request
How
that from
we're gonna pay
executives.
for this.
And we can also have Amber, if we didn't clear extra, have Amber see if we can increase the request for the additional impact fees. We still have another probably 40 or 50,000 in impact fees available. So there's
We want it to look shaft,
That's what I
look shaft.
make it look like wicked chat.
Make it shaft.
Yeah, I don't want to do it again. So we've taken off a lot of development from this town again to pay for number 4. All right. So now that I've completely jumped in and messed up your mojo,
It's okay.
go.
All right. So Mike and Mr. Grieve and I have gone over this list how many times?
And over and over.
And I've tried to keep notes that, things that Mike remembers from the year gone past, conversations that were happening. I don't know how we wanna proceed, if you just wanna start at the top, replacing the makeup air, to the kitchen. That is operational and it has been cleaned and inspected. So I don't have actual costs, I can
No,
get that information for you, but.
So, for everybody that's, watching, and if anybody watches the film, this is just a quick Excel sheet we put together after we had the engineering study done. And this is data taken strictly from the engineering reports that we got for the facility. So, there's estimated costs and everything in here that were driven from the engineering company. And what we're assessing now is what projects we need to look at. Obviously, I think we're gonna find a lot of things we've done for a lot less than what the engineering company recommended, which is, I think, what we expected. But we have a trust fund that we created a couple of years ago for cleaning up this list and working through stuff and trying to improve the condition of the facility and start making upgrades and updates. So this is just a continuation of us working on that and planning, the next wave of projects and the amount of money we want to draw out of the trust fund for, upcoming. Mike's got a very short window of time to really try to squeeze these things in. You get about 6 weeks when it really comes down to it, right?
Yeah.
For a lot of them, at least.
Yeah.
So if we can get ahead on the planning now and try to get some direction to Mike, he can figure out how to juggle all the balls.
And they're ranked, they're ranked by
Yeah.
priority, and that came from the engineering.
Yeah, and so priority 5 was the engineering company's higher priority, and then priority 1 was their lower priority. It's a little contradictory to what you would think. So if we start at the top, so as far as the makeup air units in the gym and the kitchen, we're good.
Yeah, I don't know why that was on there unless it wasn't on the day they were here or what's going on now, but yeah, that has been all recertified, inspected, cleaned, and there's absolutely no problem with it.
Okay.
And part of the reason is because it's more used as an oven vent versus a fast food fry vent, so we're not getting the greases and whatnot to go up through there,
Okay.
which keeps it substantially cleaner.
Okay.
The hardware up on the top of the roof for the fan unit, I installed that. It meets all the state requirements for the fire. It is to have, you have to be able to open that in the event that there is a fire. Just to completely remove the fan with one motion. So it just required a set of hardware and some chains and a lock. Something they wanted like $1,600 for, I did it for $2.
Okay.
Passed all the inspections and wasn't rocket science.
Perfect. Big item, number 3 on the list here is probably the biggest and what will become the most complex project when we get into it.
Yes.
How do you feel about those right now?
They're, to my knowledge, originals of the building. How adequate they're working, that I wouldn't think it's probably top notch. I would certainly think we'd have to have a company come in and do some type of study or analysis of the building. The other thing, when you upgrade vent units, and everybody said, oh, let's just put these huge fans up there to suck the air out, well, which is fine when it's 80 degrees out, but it's not so good when it's 20 degrees out. So a lot of times, you put units up there that have heat wheels in them, so they can recover some of that heat, at least maintain. So I think that's probably part of the reason that number's gonna be so high, but without an actual engineered type of study or something done to determine what the building needs, how it needs it, I wouldn't even have a clue. And we wouldn't be able to bid it out either.
I think my thought on those right now is that's a project I I would wanna, I think, sit on until we know what's gonna happen with the upcoming warrant article that we have, and if we're gonna get into, if we're gonna be adding onto the building, there may be a mechanical refit going on, and it can become part of a bonded
Sure,
project. And everything else.
absolutely.
A roof is different, the roof is gonna be the roof on this building
Right.
regardless, but that's a kind of a different mechanical system, so.
And that's gonna be an overall savings, just operating costs, things, if those are original to the building, they can't be very efficient, they've gotta
Well,
be sucking energy.
Well, no, it's not that I think they draw so much energy, I think that they inefficiently take the heat out of the building. They're just glorified, current bonnets up there with a fan that rotates and they come on and suck air out of the building and suck it in through nooks and crannies, and that's how you get fresh air.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're not draining us, it's probably 6, maybe 8 of them up there, a couple of various sizes, bathrooms that have the smaller sizes, the bigger common hallways and stuff have I mean, it's probably this big around, but it's probably a third or a half plus.
Those are the line 7 is what you're talking about, right, Mike? Line 3 is the individual classroom heaters.
Well,
The unit
classroom
ventilators.
heaters,
Yeah,
yes,
that-
no, I was not talking
Okay.
about classroom heaters.
Okay, so line 3, I think, is the classroom heaters, that's the individual units in, all the classrooms, those are the actual,
Heat and air conditioning? Yeah,
They're
pretty much.
they're just, I mean.
Well, they're not air conditioning.
No, they are, as long as you're trying
Air-
to warm the air, you're
Yeah.
conditioning it to warmer.
Right.
But no, so those are the wall mounted boxes. Those are, I know you're getting pretty handy at keeping those running.
We haven't paid anybody since they've been here.
Okay.
But, and I'm a little confused with that line because I'm not exactly certain what they mean when they say replace those
On number 3?
on the heating units in the classrooms.
Yeah, I think, again, this is all the data we got from the engineering, I think they've just exceeded their anticipated life
Yeah, okay, but it's a radiator
with the fan.
with a fan, and we have the updated Honeywell control system, which controls the air temperature and the air actually registers CO2, so it reads the CO2 as well and brings in outside mixed air as needed. So that's why I was a little confused as to, and then somebody had said, well, they wanted them to have capability of AC, and everybody I've talked to doesn't have a unit that does that other than a mini split or which I guess I don't know a lot about them. I'm not a heat expert, but
I do know just anecdotally when I was here that
A couple years ago.
a couple of years ago, we had wiring in one go badly. I should back up. They were on our to be fixed list a lot, different ones in different rooms.
More as a like repair item.
Yeah,
Okay.
and at one point, we had to clear the building after school because wires melted in one. It sent off the smoke alarm, and was essentially, wasn't really on fire, but it was smoldering. So
oh no, that's
just
not, I've replaced 2 motors that have burned up. I mean, that's not uncommon. It's a
Yeah.
mechanical device, so.
Do you have those on are you annually kind of getting into every one of them and cleaning them out or semi-annually?
We
Or?
did, not this summer, the summer before, I had one guy go through and completely open up every single one, clean all the vents, clean all the fins, oil, make sure all motors were oiled, anything, they actually have a damper in the bottom, make sure those were clean. So, yeah, I mean, they are 30 years old, right?
So when it says it's through wall, that doesn't mean that it's pulling air in from the outside?
It
or-
does,
Yep.
because if you go around the outside, you see those chrome vents?
Yeah, yeah.
And like, there's probably 8 of them down each side of the building. What it does is that's how it takes in the fresh air, mixes that with the heat, through the
That's the
pushes it
radiator,
through the
basically.
radiator with the controller, and then get, that's how you get fresh air as well.
And you think they're running better now that they're all tied into that Honeywell control?
Well, you can monitor them better.
Yeah.
I mean, and that system, is 7, 8 years old, and then we upgraded 2 years ago, the main computer brain
Oh,
portion.
server.
Yeah, server, yes.
I didn't know I needed Bob here too.
Bob,
Bob,
yeah, I
yeah.
can't do anything without Bob.
I know, right?
He's the man, I'm telling you.
Boss.
It's true. They do make a good pair,
Yeah.
Mike and Bob.
So, it still sounds like at this point you're, and we hold this until we figure out additional project.
Yeah, I think as part of the mechanical study or mechanical work for any new addition, you're going to want to have a evaluation done on the existing building so that you can either separate it or
Refit.
refit or, yeah.
You never
Or
know.
incorporate at the same time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's nothing, in my opinion, that I would jump on right now.
Do we, rather than going through line by line, is it better, do you have a list of items that you wanna hit, Mike? Is that a better way to go after this, or?
No, I just really tried to just address, as many of the items as we could.
The items that are in green are things that Mike is either working on or has, or is in the process of. So he's in the process of, doing pictures, quotes, to get quotes for replacing all of the mounted lavs in he has a vision for that, covering up the, piping underneath the sink.
Okay.
So he's gonna be working on that. We'll have that for probably the April board meeting.
It's actually out for quote right now.
Okay,
Alright, so that'll be, now that's, when you say the mounted glass, that's gonna be the ones in all the classrums?
yes.
Correct.
Okay, so that's
It's
the
a
whole
custom
first floor,
made.
basically?
Yeah, which are custom made, 26 inches tall.
Oh, perfect,
No,
alright. Is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So, and then, same thing with the Johns in all those rooms?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
He did have to replace one of them when we
I've
had
done
our
two so
septic.
far this
two,
year,
yeah.
just because, one was a problem child from the beginning, and the other one, once we took up for that, little backup we had there, a month or so ago.
Mhm.
Once we took that unit up, somebody had been there several times before, and it just wasn't right. I got some pretty good pictures if you want to see them, and
I'll be
so,
right.
cut that all up, clean that all up, put a new hub, everything down, and a new floor, and a new toilet.
Okay.
Just, because that's the great thing to do. We are, or do have the price for the keypads
Mhm.
somewhere.
Yep.
I think that's been presented.
Yep, I have a quote in there, yep, that's it.
To upgrade those and to add one.
Okay,
What are the keypads?
The alarm pads
I
go
want
into
to
the
get
building,
into
you
that.
shut the alarm on or off. And there's a monitoring fee that would go with that.
this is the card swipe,
No,
No.
this is the actual shut the alarm off.
okay, alright,
And that's what sends the alarm off-site in the event.
okay,
With the upgrade, we were having some trouble with the alarm. Trish had come in on Saturday and had trouble, disarming and then also
He said it
alarming.
was disarmed, and then when I moved in the building, the alarms went off.
Yeah, and Bob had some trouble with it as well.
The false as
So
well,
he thinks that this will fix that problem because they will it's a rat's nest apparently, and this company will come in and rewire everything, add a keypad to,
Yeah, they won't necessarily rewire everything because he doesn't believe there's anything wrong with the physical wire, but right now, nobody knows where everything is and what it goes and what it's doing, so they'll ring everything out and identify everything. They'll give us the wire to run to the new section we'd like to put it down on that entrance down there by the portables, modulars. They'll give us the wire, we run the wire, just install the unit, charge us for the unit.
okay.
5 minutes to install it, so that's,
So the number we have here is the cost of the equipment and labor is $36.80.
just one shot.
Yep, and then annual monitoring is $540. Looking at a $4,220 initial investment. Monitoring, I'm assuming this is in line with what we're paying currently, do we know?
Right now, we pay Skycom $360, it's $180 every
Twice.
6 months, and we have already paid it for the January through July.
We did.
Okay.
Okay. This is gonna correct some other deficiencies at the same time, it sounds like, as far as just the way the system performs and everything else.
That's about the efficiency. I mean, I don't know what.
As far as just improving it, making, it's gonna work better, you're gonna get the additional locations,
Oh,
as
yeah,
far as
absolutely.
reliability, how the
Yeah.
system goes and all that stuff. Okay,
Um,
so we as a board can start approving these jobs, and then we can sideline them so that we can pull the money out of the trust collectively in a pile, later in the year. So if we want to start approving so that they can start lining stuff up, we can do that. It's at the board's discretion. It's just a matter of setting everything aside, and we can pull it out of the trust when the time comes. So if the board's interested in getting this knocked off, I accept the motion.
I'll move it, for 4220, the investment. Just to talk about it.
For a second?
Second.
Alright, so my question is, how did we choose this company, and should we do an RFP before we start to?
This company presently handles our,
Keypad, swipes.
yes.
Yeah.
that's
It's a
right.
different company,
Yes.
it's not Skycom.
No.
No.
What are we paying Skycom for then? That's a different company.
No. Skycom presently is
Yes, right.
maintaining what we do have.
So I think the question is we have key card swipe, which unlocks the doors,
Yes.
specifically, that's all that does, is it unlocks the doors.
Okay.
And then we have a monitor alarm, like you would have an ADT at your house or whatever.
It has promotions and,
And that is currently Skycom. This company is a company that provides us with the key card swipes, and we feel we'll get better reliability out of
yeah, we have
one vendor.
both similar systems in one box rather than two different entities taking care of two different systems.
And I'll be honest with you, up until a minute ago, I just assumed that the key card swipe undid the alarm at the same time. I didn't realize it was a separate key card that undoes it.
And that also presently includes the two mods because they both have their own separate key swipe. I mean, key swipe and alarm.
Okay.
So we're currently paying Skycom, you just said $360 per year.
Yes.
So this would be replacing that, but it would be a couple hundred more than that. Per year, that would be replacing that. Okay.
Does the town use the same,
No, town, I think.
or the
uses
SAU?
RV.
I think it was the
Is
SAU
RV
that uses these guys?
Well,
So
yeah,
doesn't the
and
town
I don't
use RV
know
ones?
if RV Lewis
I believe they changed.
Oh.
changed their fire
they-
portion over. I don't know if RV Lewis does Berg.
And I don't know, I'm no longer there.
I can find out for you. Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess it's, at that point, it's just do we wanna find out if the town's using somebody else? Do we wanna?
They definitely switched from Skycom.
I know the town switched from Skycom, it's who their vendors are on the service.
They're switching from Skycom.
They have switched from
Yes.
Skycom.
They have switched from Skycom.
I mean, I know they've done it for their fire side. I don't know who does their other monitoring.
Would this company consider, if we put them both in the same vendor, would they reduce the annual?
Monitoring fee, it's a good
Monitoring
question
fee?
to ask.
Bundle and save.
Yeah, that's what Comcast does.
For the first 6 months.
Could we come back to the next meeting with a little more information? I mean, we're not gonna move all these right now, we would have to have a hearing and all that stuff.
Well, we can move the projects, and basically the public hearing, we can move the projects, have a total number, have a public hearing, says we're gonna draw X amount from it, and then, or reimburse our budget basically for the projects. So your short term is you're taking the money out of your budget, out of miscellaneous lines, Mike's lines, I guess theoretically, and then we're replacing it once we move the money out from the trust fund.
Yeah, I guess I'm open to this, I think I'd like a little more information.
Okay. You wanna table it until next meeting?
I would table it.
Mike, can you just do a touch more labor, see if they give us a
And
bundle?
we'll do that. See what's
Okay.
out there, who's doing what.
All right. You have the other copy. All right, what else we have? I know this is not the most entertaining meeting to observe, but
We've talked a few times about, replacing the fire alarm control panel. Mike was waiting to hear from RB Lewis on that. They're estimating, the study estimated it being $20,000. We don't have a clear picture of what it would actually be.
Feedback on that has been that the panel is older than dirt and no longer, the parts are hard to get.
Unviable.
Okay. So I think we should, that project to me needs to be a priority. So I would most certainly, let's flag that one as one that we will get done. And let's just get what we need to get to sort that one out.
Well, what I also would put into that, and I've already spoken to one fella, is that it would have to, I would definitely want the ability to expand that system in the event we did do something.
Okay.
That at least that system would be new, up and running, and expandable. Whether it's add another card, add another memory, add another, and be able to tie to it. That way, at least it's one less thing that we'd have to change or interfere with.
And as contract work, that can be done during the summer. Obviously, when it's being done, your fire alarm panel is gonna be disabled, but it shouldn't affect us being able to operate in the building, at least during, not with students here, I wouldn't, but.
No, they probably wouldn't allow that. I mean, there's been instances where they do, but they want you to pay for a fire truck and a fire crew to stand outside the door.
But if we did it in the summertime, we'd still be able to carry on, we should be able to carry on
They
cleaning
would,
and all that stuff.
so.
Okay. All right. I don't wanna pay for a fire truck,
Bunch of battery smoke detectors stuck up all over.
be a lot of batteries. So does that sprinkler tree and a fire pump and the control panels, should that all be looked at as part of one project, or I'm gonna lean on you on this, Mike.
I really don't understand that one either. To my knowledge, the system is adequate for when it was installed and is still doing its job. Unless it just got a X life expectancy on it and you just wanna change, which I've never seen or heard of. I know they did do some of that with some of the generator, the diesel pump ones that ran. They did put in the lights on those, but ours is the electric one out there. So if you wanna give me some clarification or come up with some questions you want me to get answers to, I'd be more than willing to, but I didn't really understand that one, unless it obviously would have, if there was an addition in place.
Okay.
Then we would need to upsize it, right?
I would assume so, or add another, probably add
That was
another
on
one.
our holiday.
Cause this may or may not have been spec to what's here, so there may not be room if you were to put an addition on.
Right.
With that present system to take care of the volume.
I mean, I don't know definitively, but the building has grown since that system was built initially. We've added on 10,000 square feet of building since the building was originally designed.
The four classrooms and a
Yeah,
half,
about 10,000 square feet.
which they probably, well, they shouldn't have let anybody do if that system wasn't capable of handling. It may be maxed
Right,
now at
it may
that.
not be able to take another 30 or 40,000 square
Right,
feet.
I'm sure it probably could.
Right, so,
So I don't know if that had anything to do with that, or if they,
okay. So I would, let's flag that as part of that, at least priority to find out what, we'll research a little more what the engineering company had in mind on that. And I have the full report, I'll dig through it some more and, see if I can find it.
when you tie into the alarm panel, if you're looking at line 26, for 15,000 and less, I'm pretty sure it's got a gong on it. I mean, it's gotta be monitored. I just don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
What else do we have?
And then these are all projects down here that, doing things like, things that have been done, like the stair treads, working on the gym floor, lighting has been replaced. So we're working on, painting. We've done a lot, and by we, I mean, you know who I mean, I don't mean me, although I did help
I've seen you
paint.
in your paint,
Thank you,
sure.
Trish, be my vouch for me there. I did help paint. Well, that was after I saw the color in the office. I was like, ugh. this has got to go. So I did help paint.
Is it purple?
It's kind of grayish. It's Brian's office, but it was green, like lime pistachio green.
Yeah.
It was
came out
yucky.
weird. Yeah, it was very odd.
Yeah,
Very odd color. Looked like nothing you were looking at.
right?
Appeared to be different.
It was, yeah. So we're slowly moving through. We've painted the lobby. We had the cafeteria done over Christmas break, which looks beautiful. And the hope is to bring the lobby color or get rid of that blue stripe, do a spruce up in the bottom hallway, move up to the top hallway maybe next summer. So that's an in process for sure.
So that's a project that, I'm assuming we'll sub that out, because that'll occupy a ton of time.
Well, and that's the problem. The problem right now is summer's just not long enough.
Right, yeah, so.
And then everybody wants to go on vacation.
No, and I think that's what we wanna try to plan is how do we
Mm-hmm.
maximize that 6 weeks so that you can marshal a bunch of people
it's
around and
crazy.
get them
It
to,
really is.
so,
And I'll take as much blame as anybody for not.
well, it's only 6
You
weeks.
show up and you're the only guy in the room and it's like, oh, crap.
So, I think what we really wanna look at is, if you wanna get the painting done, it sounds like you wanna do the first floor hallways, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good start, because we're already, like I said, we've done the offices, we've done the lobby came out nice.
So I think we want a number for the first floor hallways, is that a fair request?
For the summer.
Yeah, I mean, because we need to plan those summer projects now, you need to plan it, quote it, figure out who's doing it, and schedule it now. Over the course of, say, the next 2 or 3 meetings. So, we want a paint number for the first floor hallways. Should we, is there painting that should be done in the gym before we tear up a floor and put a new floor down, or would you deal with that later?
It certainly wouldn't be a bad idea if somebody, depending on how much they want done, anything over, 6 feet is gonna require some scaffolding, maybe a wheel lift of some form if you were gonna, really do it up one and done.
You'd want to do it beforehand.
Yeah, I would definitely do it before the floor was,
Right.
that's what I'm saying. I didn't even give that a thought, to be honest.
So is that something else the board wants to investigate? That would be like an April vacation project, you need to have it come in and done during April vacation.
Yeah, I couldn't go any later.
Yeah, and then effectively at that point, they can make a mess on the floor, it doesn't really matter.
We'll need it in the gym, I haven't really noticed.
That's a question for the building folks here.
We'll
And
chat.
if you guys wanna discuss that, and if it's something you wanna come back to us with, I'd say bring back a number. If that's a fair request. Ultimately, we need numbers to act on, right?
Sure.
It's, at the end of the day, we're not sitting here necessarily, we need numbers, right?
Absolutely.
And then from there, we can make decisions based on that. We have the trust fund, we have quite a bit of money sitting in it for making this building better. And that's the expectation of the community. What else was there on your list, Mike?
I don't know, we've done, with the help of the board, of course, several really positive upgrades over the last 2 years with the heating and the hot water and the expansion tanks and the well tanks, and mechanically, other than, some of the, things we've already discussed, mechanically, we're not in bad shape here. Cosmetic wise would be, as time goes on, upgrading the walls, the floors, the baseboard takes away from a lot. We're picked away, the office looks good now, the lobby looks nice now. Starting to just be able to maintain, as far as, just some of these other bigger projects. I think it's just a matter of.
Is it worthwhile if we decide to paint the hallways to replace the ceiling tiles all the way through it at the same time and the baseboards?
I would definitely do the baseboards, but the only thing with doing baseboards is if you're gonna do baseboards, then you probably should do the floor. So it's kinda like ching, 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 ching.
The floors,
Ceiling, one thing that's not on that list, I don't believe that I would like to look more into addressing would be the ceiling in the kitchen area.
I didn't mention that, sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we put it on there or not, I used to. And then, of course, we talked about upgrading, and I might be getting ahead of myself here, but upgrading the equipment in the kitchen.
I think that's what this,
Is that what that, okay?
that's what that stack is right there.
So I don't need to jump ahead, but,
No, this is,
you know, we've already agreed on upgrading the bathrooms as we go along. Fixtures and whatnot, those, I mean, we've talked about most of the other upgrades already. We've got the septic system, I do get it pumped twice a year now. The main tank, not the kitchen tank, that gets still done once a year to maintain that system. And we did have that done over the last vacation. We finally got that tank sludged out, it's finally clean.
that can't be a pleasant
More
job.
pumps, but, and it appears to be fine.
Okay, so as far as what we know upcoming, you're gonna bring us some information on the alarm system. We're gonna get fire alarm system sorted out, fire panel system stuff sorted out. You're gonna bring us paint numbers for the first floor. You have numbers coming for the lavatories.
Yep.
For the first floor. Other,
And the countertops.
in the countertops,
Yeah, the complete single top.
whole smash. Okay, yeah, so that's that stuff. We have, if you think the ceiling tiles in the kitchen need to be redone, then that's probably not a big money project. I can't imagine.
Yeah, I was gonna check with the chiefs, I don't believe it's a requirement, but someone used to require them to be fire retardant panels.
So let's figure it out and
So,
put a number
but
to
we
it.
definitely want a decent washable tile in there.
Okay.
I'm assuming those came with the building, I don't know that's for
Probably a
fact,
safe
but
bet.
yeah.
So let's get a number on that, and by any means, if any of the other board members have an item that they do or don't want to add. And then, as far as additional equipment, I see quotes here for griddles for the kitchen.
Yeah.
Is that to replace an item, or is that to add an item, is that,
The griddle, it's kind of a twofold, it's a replacement / upgrade to the stove. They wanna keep the stove, the gas oven / stove, however you wanna say it. But she just felt that with the griddle, she could make better use of the time, make, different products or however, maybe she'd be a better one to talk to. I don't know if she left you any information
Yep,
on
if
that
the-
as far as explaining the rationale behind it. And the other thing was the ovens, I believe.
okay,
The convection
And that was
ovens
more of a
and the dishwasher.
mismatch for one thing, and they're antique.
Mhm.
Don't really do what they're supposed to do. One's a warmer and not an oven. You can warm with it but not bake with it.
Yep, no, you're
Just
right, you're on.
Trying to cope with what I remember, not trying to make it up.
okay. So on this, there's a ton of stuff listed in here. There's a kitchen's worth of equipment, there's dishwashers and
So there's three different three different quotes, three different
Yeah.
dishwashers. I do have her first choices.
okay.
Are they at the top? Is the top one the top choice, or is? I'm looking at it.
Oh, okay.
So, what I would say is, just because of the menagerie of stuff that's listed here,
I think I only sent Patty her first choices. Are there three?
They all have like three, and they say alternatives as you go down the page.
Okay.
Right.
yeah. So,
Yeah, she did pick some items.
Yeah,
Yeah, she did have a priority list of which,
so do we wanna have, Meredith maybe come in and give us a real rundown of what she needs in there to make it happen?
Can you look at the ovens, one is more than twice as much as the other one, and is it?
And she may be able to tell us a benefit or not,
Okay.
maybe she's not asking for that one.
I have them.
Okay,
For the gas oven, It was the second one, the Blodgett ZEPH 100 yada yada, for $7,693.
That was your top choice.
That was her first choice, yeah. It was the second choice in the packet, but her first choice. For the flat top griddle, that was looking at $3,063.98. So it's the fourth, it's the actual fourth choice. And then the dishwasher, her first choice is the second choice. The ventless Hobart for $15,687. There's additional delivery charges that of a couple $100.
Okay. So,
But she really said that anything that you decide is better than nothing. Yeah. Those are the three top things that she wants. The gas oven and the dishwasher would be replacements, and the flat top griddle, like Mike said, would be an addition.
and we had some of that was identified, I believe, on the,
Yes.
on this.
Yeah.
We had 15,687 for a dishwasher. Never thought those words would be said.
What number is that? Is that?
I don't know.
Yeah. Bathroom, I think we need to go up. Building, mechanical, exterior, yeah, it's all up. I think we gotta go. Kitchen, reinforced panels and wall, place case work. I think it's towards it. Actually, I think I have a copy of this one.
There's the kitchen stuff is the dishwasher and the hood.
Where's the dishwasher? Provide exhaust to the dishwasher. And so, is that dishwasher, she said was ventless, so you do not need an exhaust hood for that?
I assume that's what it means.
The word ventless is in the title, so I'm not a rocket scientist, but just
I'm pretty sure the dishwasher portion plays in there too.
it could, Mike. Because there's no hood, this is a note, because there's no hood in the dish area, all that moisture needs to be vented properly.
Unless you get a ventless dishwasher.
Correct.
Which would save $5,000 right there for,
You save more than that, probably.
Mm.
it says replace exhaust fan for kitchen, but, well, sorry, yeah, we're looking up about $15,000.
That's to provide it.
So, we think, I don't know if we're
No,
joking or
this
not
is-
here, but we think if we get one of these, then we don't have to provide a hood.
Yeah,
exhaust
Mike's
hood
gonna
for
find out
dishwasher.
for us.
We're gonna find that out.
Mike's definitely gonna find that
That
out
would
for
be
us.
brilliant.
Mike, you thought you were bored.
Yeah,
Wood?
Mike's also gonna make sure it would all fit.
Right.
We can make it fit.
Oh, yeah,
Loading docks right there behind
yeah,
it.
just give it a big push. So, I would say, let's trim the proposals down to what she's actually requesting. Because doesn't, based on just what I'm looking at, we're not going after the Cadillac on everything.
Right, that's great.
So I'm pleased with that. So let's trim it down to what the actual request is for the three items.
Mhm.
And then, let's see it, let's make sure, Mike, that our understanding is correct about the ventless and not needing a hood in there. Let's make sure it fits and make sure whatever numbers we're looking at include delivery, installation, gas piping, whatever needs to be done,
Mhm.
electrical tie-in. And let's get a project cost.
Yep, I have a delivery charge and gas connector for the gas oven at $465.60. I have a delivery charge and gas connector for the flat top griddle at $365.60, and the delivery charge for the dishwasher $200.
Yeah, so we're still gonna need it's still gonna be tied in and installed and all
Yep.
that stuff. Whether it's done by them or locally or whatever.
And are we sure that this can come out of one of our funds?
We can verify that.
So we also look into that.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that Amber or what do we have?
Amber, Patty.
That should be able to come out of
We have,
replacement.
yeah,
Titles.
Visitors with the dollar sign.
I'm almost wondering,
So
was any of that
visitors need to
moved from
change
the
it.
other building?
So VISITOR.
I was Mike, I was
And then visitors with the dollar sign.
We have them.
Mr. Kelly was,
Kevin's right now.
Mr. Kelly was
And
6.
that's all one word.
Yes.
You,
You woke him up.
Is it case sensitive?
I would have hoped at that point that stuff would have been original to this
No, but
building.
it's so mismatched that.
Mismatched in there.
Is it?
Kind of an odd setup, but who knows why some people do what they do.
All right. Anything else, Mike, you want us to pay attention to?
No, I don't think so.
Make it stop, he said.
Yeah, Bob and I and Miss Lydia and Brian, we are, I might have seen, you've got some of it, we're working on a spreadsheet type of thing, something similar to this as projects that,
Spending and.
well, when they get to the actual, you've got the paperwork stage, not when we're just, oh, check on this, check on that. When it actually, kind of, just prior to becoming an actual project, so that we can follow the progress and everybody knows what page it's on and where the money's coming from.
Perfect.
And the other thing too would be to, but just two of the projects we discussed tonight, they have, monitoring fees. The fire alarm system that's in the facility's shed, that's an increase in the budget, which somehow somebody has to remember to add that in at the end of the year, and don't look at me, I'm not that guy, but, so just figure if we had that on a sheet that four, five, 6 people had availability to, one of us might remember that we need to add $700 of monitoring fees to the budget for the following year.
Good point.
Because the project was approved, everything was approved, but you never approved the money for the following year to continue with the project that was approved. Not that you never do, I'm just saying, we don't wanna not have that money put in. And like I said, I'm not the guy that's gonna remember that, so.
That's not you?
Yeah, it's not me.
All right.
Fine.
So within the next couple of meetings, we circle back to this one last time and get you a list.
We'll have that other project up and running by then too, which we'll present to the board.
And you, for the testing, you're good to go.
Yes, yep.
Would the board be, would they entertain if we did a little bit more research on the parking lot as well?
Yeah, as far as the upper lot,
We had quite a few falls this winter, staff members.
okay. So if you go back to the,
He wasn't pointing
I didn't look at you directly. You just happened to be sitting.
Candy was doing snow angels. She claimed she fell, but we all know she was just doing snow.
so in a nutshell, we have 75,000-ish sitting idle for the paving of that lot in a trust fund. A minor concern, I think, or a concern the board has had is of paving that lot and then tearing it all back up with a construction project. I think it's a reasonable concern. However, we need to work with the Conservation Commission and I'm drawing a blank on the other board.
Freeze
Was it the planning board?
Department of Environmental Services, the state will probably want to check it too.
So I think it's,
We can get those.
the Warren article, when the fund was created, in a very Cliff Notes version, said that we had to use best practices to avoid water runoff into the pond, in the watershed. And that we needed to work with the Conservation Commission on that process. Jim went to the Conservation Commission last year and said, what do you folks have in mind? And they didn't really have a response form other than we want an engineer's opinion. So for us to pursue it, and I would love to see that paved, we need to talk to an engineer. The town's engineer spoke with Jim, I would say, talk to Jim. The town's engineer spoke with Jim and was willing to come out and at least do an initial walk around with us to give us that 30,000 quick, like, you're looking at this, but a project up there is going to involve engineering dollars.
one other agency that would put a damper on it would be the fact that there's two wells in that parking lot as well that don't presently meet the radius.
Yeah, there's-
Radius of what, from the water, from the pond?
No, from, motor vehicle traffic.
yeah. So, but most certainly, if you wanna grab the ball and run with it, if you can get information for us, I am not opposed to hearing it, as anybody else.
I'm not opposed. I think that when we hear back from the town in next week about whether they want us to move ahead with this building, I mean, I think putting down a pavement and then ripping it up in 3 years or 2 years or whatever it is. Like
Flip side of that is if they say no, then let's move on with improving the facility that we have.
Right.
So, I mean, maybe sit on it for a week until we see what happens at the vote, but, also, I mean, the flip side of that is getting the approval for design work doesn't necessarily mean that we'll get a bond passed, when the time comes, so.
Well, we're pretty sure that, we're fairly certain that we're not,
We're not in there, right?
the addition's not going that way.
Yeah, I think we're,
The addition can't go there.
in addition, yeah, I mean, I reviewed when I was sitting last week, idle, I, went back through a lot of the information in the engineering report. We really have one spot where the addition's gonna go.
But we've got traffic issues and to rethink about how
That-
the whole system, the whole property is
That's
organized.
the flip side of it,
Could
right?
change, yeah.
So, that's another part of it. But most certainly, if we get stalled and we're working with what we got, then let's pay what we got and start moving that ball forward. Any other items? Okay,
Is Mike free to go?
you don't wanna hang out for the rest of this?
Sure, I'll be in my car.
Thanks, Mike, for coming.
out,
Yeah, thank you, Mike.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, why don't we take a 5-minute recess if the board's comfortable with that? Everybody stretch your legs real quick. All right, recess, come back at 7:32.
You're like a college professor.
All right, we're back in order.
I can picture it. Not with her kids, though.
Moving on to policies, seeing as the superintendent isn't here,
Well, that's how it
I
goes.
think we should table policies till the next meeting, is that
So moved.
a
Hold on, I
second?
gotta get my notebook.
Anybody have any issues with that? No? All right, so we will table all the policies for the next meeting. Brings us to informational items. Mr. Oxnard.
Yes, so I have, over the last month, 6 weeks, I don't know, I was at the candidates night and I appreciated the work. It was great. It was also a good opportunity to hear some of the concerns of the community. And one of the ones that I heard a couple times was the idea of not enough communication, which is something that we hear often. And so I've been kind of stewing on that, like thinking about what else could we maybe do. And as well as this concern about not having enough communication, also it sounded like just from hearing people speak that there were a couple misconceptions about things like the role of the school board and what does being a school board, what is the job description of a school board member, those kinds of things. And so I was sort of playing it with ideas about how to try to at least, you know, if you look at the RSAs, there's not really a lot of rules from the state about what you have to do as a school board member, which makes it more nebulous. But there is guidance from the NHSBA. There's other places where we can look to that. Anyway, I put some ideas together, and I was thinking that maybe starting some sort of not a very frequent series, but every so often putting something out on Facebook or some other place, we could just sort of maybe do a quick snapshot of what, according to the NHSBA or according to whoever, what is the purpose of the school board, the purpose of the school board member, et cetera. And I think it could potentially lead itself to be a series that might happen every other month or something like that, whenever I or whoever, you know, puts something together. So I wanted to bring to the board an initial idea, and that is in this packet somewhere. And I was looking for your thoughts. Yeah.
Yep.
And so I sort of turned it into like an infographic. I took the information from the NHSBA and the RSAs. I just kind of, as far as I could find, that's kind of what information is out there. And then also kind of by convention what we as a board have been, how we've been approaching this. So I am looking for, I guess, an okay to go out and either put this on Facebook, spread it around, and start putting it out there. And maybe it'll be the first, like I said, in a series of installs dealing with different kinds of FAQs or questions or whatever that we could kind of provide information about.
Yeah, I mean, so we have worked every year, communication, right? In my 5 years on the board, I think, at 4 years now. It's a recurring theme, right? And I think we are continuously, whether it's the school's communication, the board's communication, trying to improve that. And no matter how much, if I think about 5 years ago to now, I mean, the amount of information we are trying to push forward, I think, is vastly improved. And you still hear the same things over and over again. The source of the frustration I have is that the same people that are saying that are the same people that aren't coming to the meetings that say, well, what about this? When are you doing this? When are you doing that? Well, we're doing it now, right? We're in a meeting, it's public. Come on in and join us and see how it all works. To me, this is great, and it's just another item to push, and I think we can continuously push this type of stuff. So I'm perfectly comfortable with it. It's just a matter of how do you want to format it, what's the best avenue, and
I think this is awesome. And I think of it from, I like the idea of a regular series, but what this also does is provide standardization of certain, we can take it this way, right? Standardization of certain definitions and rules so that everybody can point to, well, it says here that it's, so that there can be not only understanding but accountability, right? So that they can go, well, it says here you're supposed to be doing this. This is what you guys put out, that sort of thing. So I think having that as out there in the public domain as a reference is great, I think, because that clarifies everything for everybody. You're still going to get the people that will argue that the sky is not blue.
it isn't. It's purple.
Right. So, but for the most part, and I think seeing that same kind of conversations and everything that's going on, there is that certain subset of people that just have their opinion and they're not willing to be open about it. But the other people that don't know, you hear that comment all the time. Well, where can I go to find that answer? Where is that defined? So if we have that spot where we can point them to,
I'd say let it fly.
I'd go for it. Anything you would add or change?
Well, I mean, it's not mentioned here, but another role is policy and budget is our two primary functions, and whether you incorporate that into a later one
I was thinking another one would be what's the role of the school board
versus administration versus
Yeah.
So you can continuously every month to 2 months, whatever quarterly, whatever you want to do. But yeah, and by all means, Nate, you have done a remarkable job of improving the way we communicate with the community. So. As you're coming up with ideas, I'm more than willing to put a polish and a refinement to it that is much more delicate than my hammer approach to life. All right.
One other topic I think you should address sooner rather than later would be why is the structure of a school board meeting the way it is?
Yeah.
Great.
And then
Because people have a certain expectation to come in and be able to have an exchange.
and we probably should publish that provides, citizens' comments. I'm drawing a blank on the GBAC. But it's probably, we should probably publish that every couple of months, and it's just a reminder of, because it spells out how it works. Do you have other items you want to cover?
No, that's it.
So while
Do you
we're,
mean like in the series of FAQ?
no, I'm just tonight.
Yeah.
So I believe this is Ken's last meeting.
Yep.
Correct. So thank you, Ken. I think it's been 4 years, 5 years, because you came in 5?
So I have a Sharpie.
4 years. No,
It says
you're
4
only getting
years.
4.
Fine, that's fine.
That's all you get credit for. So I think the principal has something she'd like to present to you.
Technically, I'm representing Superintendent Sherman in this, but we did also present this to Jim Dealey as well. He was unable to be at this last meeting, but upon the occasion of your retirement from the Deerfield School Board, in recognition and appreciation for your 4 years of dedicated leadership and service to the Deerfield School District and its students. Thank you very much, Ken.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Ken. Ken will be able to enjoy his Wednesday evenings now.
Do you want a bubbler as well?
No, I don't need a bubbler
Okay.
dedicated to it.
All right, just making sure.
That's fine.
I'm happy to get another bubbler.
A
Do,
little piece of the Jim forward, yes.
What are the new toilets?
the Heckman
That's Zach.
Brown?
That's Zach's.
We're good.
So many jokes I want to say right now. All right, any other informational items that any of the other board members or staff?
I was just gonna bring up one of Patty's, absent tonight, but I wanted to just say that the board would like to kind of officially, us as a board, we would like to officially recognize Patty's 20 years of service.
Yes.
She hit her 20-year mark a couple months ago, and so on behalf of the board, we're going to present to her a small token of our appreciation, and we also wanted to kind of convey our appreciation toward Karen Gersha as well, and recognize her accomplishment in being recognized as the Special Education Director of the Year. And so we also have a small token of appreciation for her as well. Yes. And I just figured that I would want the public to know that
Yes.
We really are thankful for the commitment that they make to our students and our families and our community.
It's, it is something that maybe doesn't go recognized nearly as much as it should, but, as board members, we spend some time here, the meetings and whatnot, but the staff, the administration, the SAU staff, it's countless hours above and beyond their contract, and it is, we probably don't take the time to recognize it nearly as much as we should. So thank everybody that's here at 8 o'clock at night. Most certainly, this is well outside the expectations of what contracts and everything else lead you to. So thank you for doing this and helping our kids and our community. It's appreciated. We have, if there's nothing else as far as informational, we have an opportunity for public comments. Public? Okay, obviously we have no non-public. We do not have any appointments or resignations that I am aware of. So, Mr. Heckman, would you like to?
I move to adjourn.
For the final time.
For the final time.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you very much, everybody. That wraps it up.